Garrett was scared everywhere he went. He was always on guard. He was scared one day the animatronics would finally get him. Then, on his 7th birthday, William forced him to spend it at Fredbear's. The whole neighborhood was at the party. Michael thought it would be funny to bring his friends and have them wear masks of the other characters, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. Garrett was the only one not enjoying the party. Michael and his friends had the idea for a prank. They picked up Garrett and brought him to Fredbear. Garrett begged them to let him go, but Michael and his friends kept laughing as they brought Garrett closer to Fredbear. "I think the little man said he wants to give Fredbear a big kiss," Michael said, laughing. Then the 4 bullies threw Garrett into Fredbear's mouth and Garrett's head was crushed. All the bullies stopped laughing. Everyone in the restaurant started screaming. "What have we done?" the bullies thought. Michael thought, it was just supposed to be a prank. It was meant to be a joke. Michael liked making his brother feel scared, yes, but he didn't mean for this to happen. Garrett was rushed to the hospital. Michael had a hard time speaking. He apologized to Garrett over and over until William told him to leave the room. William knew his son was about to die, but that was okay. This was progress. He knew he broke Garrett by experimenting on him so much. William spoke to Garrett trying to sound like the Fredbear plush. Garrett was in a coma, but he could hear his Fredbear plush. William told Garrett he was broken, but the plushies are still his friends. Then William made a promise to his son. William would put Garrett back together. Garrett then died and his soul was shattered. Garrett's spirit had somehow made another dimension for itself. It wasn't quite heaven, but it wasn't Earth either. Garrett found himself inside a world full of colorful animatronic creatures and endless adventure. The Afton family started to break up a bit after that. It was already a little dysfunctional since the mother was always carrying everything for the kids, but now she was too upset about Garrett to do anything for Michael or Elizabeth. Meanwhile, with William, he needed new victims to experiment on. So he made a sewn-together spring Bonnie suit and he began to go to kids' houses, usually kids he recognized from Freddy's. Fredbear's had closed after the incident. William came to many kids' houses dressed as Spring Bonnie. He used a sewn-together suit, lured them out their window, and brought them to his place where he continued to experiment on them. Unlike what he did with Garrett, William just left them in the experiment room for weeks, until he observed them enough, killed the kid, and found a new one to do the same experiments on. He did this for a couple of years, finding that every time the kid died, they would have amnesia. William found that each spirit did not remember anything about their past life. The dead forget. So not only did William know it was easy to manipulate a soul's reality, but he now knew that it's even easier when they don't remember anything. A light bulb then turned on in William's head. That family he's wanted for so long. He knew how to get it. He remembered, thanks to Charlie being in the puppet, that possession was 100% possible. What if he could kill a group of kids and get their souls to possess the animatronics somehow? Then he could manipulate the reality of the kids' souls and make them think he is their friend. He could have control over the animatronics. This was perfect, William thought. He could finally have that family he's always wanted, a family that listens to him. Only one issue with that. He didn't know how to make the kids possess the animatronics. Continuing these experiments wouldn't get him anywhere. He had to do something else. William decided to leave the experiments behind, but there was still a test subject in there, a 7-year-old named Rory. William had even created an AI version of his friend Wade. William thought about just killing Rory, but nah, he wondered how long Rory would last in there. So he left the gas on and he left Rory to survive against the nightmares. Circus Baby's Pizza World, the new restaurant in town featuring brand new animatronics, Circus Baby and the Bitty Babs, Ballora and the Mini Renas, and some old faces rebranded. Funtime Freddy, Bonbon and Bonnet, Funtime Foxy and Lolbit, and Funtime Chica, plus a Springlock suit. William opened Circus Babies with one goal in mind: capturing and killing children. William made them in the image of their broken family. Since they were robots, they would listen to him, unlike his actual family. William put many features into them, such as voice mimic, luring, deter, and misdirect, parental voice sync, and replay. William started his own company, Afton Robotics. However, it was a subsidiary to Fazbear Entertainment. William knew if he told the higher-ups at Fazbear Entertainment what he was programming his animatronics to do, he would never get the approval to open Circus Babies. Luckily, William was a really good liar. When talking with the board of directors, they were curious about the special design choices. William lied and got away with it. He was able to open Circus Babies Pizza World to the public. Now, for the next step of the plan, William wanted to make sure the Fun Times would capture and kill as many kids as possible. He would even help by luring kids away in the Springlock suit. However, unfortunately, Elizabeth. William's wife was insisting he takes Elizabeth with him to Circus Babies. William wished he could just leave Elizabeth home. He had already found her to be quite a nuisance. Elizabeth, she had been desperate for her father's love since she was born. She tried to play with him sometimes, which would result in William screaming at her to go away, maybe even throwing things at her or hitting her. Elizabeth's world revolved around wanting her father's love. She'd do anything for him, anything, but William never gave her a glance. He never cared for his daughter. Elizabeth noticed William was working very hard on Circus Baby. Elizabeth was interested in Baby, especially since she had been built in her image, the face of a child with red hair and pigtails. Elizabeth didn't realize the Fun Times were just meant to look like the Afton family. Ballora was his wife, Funtime Foxy was Michael, Funtime Freddy was Garrett, while Bon Bon was his Fredbear plush. And lastly, the Springlock suit was William. Elizabeth begged her father over and over again to see Baby. William said no every single time. Elizabeth was desperate for her father to put the time and effort into her that he did with Baby. William obsessed over Baby. On the grand opening of Circus Babies Pizza World, William had to bring his daughter with him. That already annoyed him. Elizabeth kept begging and begging to see Baby. William was sick of it. He checked his watch to see if the Fun Times got any kills yet. Nothing. Funtime Foxy and Ballora had both almost lured someone, but they were interrupted by the kid's parent. Useless, William thought. Fine, he would do it himself. William didn't care about watching Elizabeth anymore. He didn't want that brat around anyway. William put on the Springlock suit and started to look for a kid to kill. Daddy isn't watching, Elizabeth said. She went to Baby's stage. Baby had just got done with playing with a group of children, and Elizabeth approached. Elizabeth was amazed. Baby really did look like her. Sure, she was a lot bigger and the eyes were the wrong color, but it did look like her. Elizabeth was so happy to finally play with Baby. Baby opened up her stomach and offered Elizabeth a vanilla ice cream cone. Hungry, Elizabeth came to Baby. Where were the other children, she wondered. Oh well, who cares? This is gonna be an amazing day. Elizabeth couldn't believe her dad kept saying no. Elizabeth reached out to grab the ice cream cone, and then a claw shot out of Baby, grabbed Elizabeth and pulled her into her stomach. Elizabeth tried to scream, but she was silenced as she was forced into the stomach cavity. Elizabeth was quickly killed inside of there. Meanwhile, William was in his suit watching a kid, but then he got an alert. He checked his watch. Baby got a kill. Finally, he thought. Maybe these animatronics were doing their job after all. William took off the suit and went to where he was watching Elizabeth. Wait, where was she? Uh-oh. William pulled the emergency stop button, and the whole place shut down. Everyone was evacuated out of the building. Quickly, William went to check Baby. Sure enough, Elizabeth was in there. That wasn't exactly the plan, but hey, at least now he won't get caught. William took all the Fun Times out of the restaurant and loaded them into a truck, taking them to his place, where he'd kept them in the basement. He'd tell the public there were some gas leaks or something. William paid close attention to Baby that night. Is there anything to indicate possession? Baby had been still. Wait a minute. Didn't he give Baby blue eyes? Yes, William was amazed. The blue eyes he had given Baby were now green, the color of Elizabeth's eyes. Elizabeth's soul was in there. That's how we can get the animatronics at Freddy's to be possessed. The spirit follows the flesh and also the pain. He will have to stuff their bodies inside the suits before they die. Like Elizabeth, if they die inside the suits, their souls will be trapped inside of the animatronics. He just had to recreate the accident. Yes, it was time for William to enact his plan. June 26, 1985, Gabriel's 7th birthday party. He had invited 4 of his friends that day: Susie, Jeremy, Fritz, and Cassidy. William was going to make sure he gained their trust. The spring locks were off limits now, but William didn't care. He went to the safe room and put on the Spring Bonnie suit. Then he came out and found the group. The kids really enjoyed talking with Spring Bonnie. William played with them, pretended to be jealous he couldn't eat the pizza too, and he was overly nice to the kids. Cassidy loved Spring Bonnie so much, she drew a picture of her and her friends playing with him. After a while, William was ready. He had gained their trust. Susie had seemed the most vulnerable. William noticed she was having the least amount of fun. Susie had been going through a lot before the party. Recently, she had gotten in a fight with her sister Samantha over a doll named Gretchen. The doll was for her to share with her sister, but Susie and Samantha fought all the time. Eventually, Susie hid Gretchen and didn't tell Samantha where. Samantha was not happy about that, but to make matters worse, recently Susie's dog had run outside and gotten hit by a car. Susie loved her dog a lot, and this just destroyed her. She had vented about everything to Spring Bonnie. William knew she was the easiest target. As Spring Bonnie, William told Susie that her dog was alive. He could show her. And Gretchen, he knew exactly how to make sure Samantha never got her hands on Gretchen again. Eager, Susie followed Spring Bonnie to see how he would help. She was also happy to get to see her dog again. Susie followed William to the safe room. William opened the door to let her in. As Susie was wondering where the dog was, William had shut the door, pulled out his knife, and stabbed Susie. Not too much though. He needed her alive. For now. Susie was only passed out. Jeremy was next. In character, William told Jeremy his house was on fire. It was burning down. They had to stop it. Not wanting his house to burn down, Jeremy desperately followed William to the safe room where he was stabbed too. Gabriel was next. The birthday boy. This one was simple. Gabriel had already blown out his candles and opened gifts. William told Gabriel he needed help with homework. Gabriel agreed to help Spring Bonnie and followed him, which led to another stab. William decided to be daring when luring Fritz. Susie, Jeremy, Gabriel, they are all being held hostage by these evil people, Spring Bonnie panicked. Fritz wanted to be a hero and save his friends, so he followed Spring Bonnie. Fritz was taken to the safe room, relieved his friends were only passed out, but then he joined them. William only had one more victim, Cassidy. William went to Cassidy, acting panicked. He told her someone was trying to kidnap her. Terrified, Cassidy held on to Spring Bonnie. She knew he'd protect her. William then brought Cassidy to the safe room again and stabbed her. At that point, people had noticed kids were missing. William had to be fast. Everyone was evacuating the building. The cops would be here any second. William made sure to disable the security cameras for this next part. The old Fredbear suit was close by. William took off his costume and stuffed Cassidy into Fredbear while in suit mode. He made sure the spring locks went off, killing Cassidy in the suit. Next, William rushed the other kids to the dining room. He stuffed Fritz into Foxy, making sure he bled out and died inside that suit. Jeremy died after being stuffed into Bonnie. Gabriel died after being stuffed in Freddy, and Susie died when she was stuffed in Chica. Yes, now he had to get out of there before the police arrived. But before he did, he stumbled across Cassidy's drawing. The children with Spring Bonnie. William picked up the drawing and stuck it to the wall, which housed all the other drawings children made. He made sure the yellow rabbit drawing was more prominent than any of the others. He wanted it to be the center of attention. Then he got out of the building and quickly drove away. That night, William had one more trick up his sleeve. He'd been talking to a little boy for the past few weeks. Andrew. He loved Freddy's. William would put on his sewn-together spring Bonnie suit and wear it to go to Andrew's house every night. He talked to Andrew through his windows, and he and Andrew even ran off to Freddy's together. But tonight was different. William had asked Andrew to come with him to Freddy's again. Andrew happily accepted, but Andrew had currently been grounded. Andrew broke his own window and left with Spring Bonnie. This time though, William didn't take Andrew to Freddy's. William brought Andrew to the middle of the woods. He then stabbed Andrew repeatedly and threw his body around. He gave Andrew a slow and painful death. Andrew bled out as William twisted and contorted and mangled his body. William had even gotten a shovel and beaten Andrew to death so hard that the body was unrecognizable. William's costume was completely soaked in Andrew's blood. This was perfect. William had wanted to try having a soul attachment. He was able to get Andrew's soul attached to his own. William could feel Andrew's presence, his pain, his fear, and his anger inside of him. This was perfect. William took his bloody shovel and buried a deep hole. He threw Andrew's body in there. Then William filled up the hole, burying Andrew in there, and then William took his shovel and everything else to his car, and he got out of the scene of the crime quickly. William was pleased with himself. Did he really just get away with murder again? William washed his suit, shovel and knife, and anything else with evidence against him, and he went to sleep, pleased with everything he had accomplished today. Back at the pizzeria, Charlie, who had been inhabiting the puppet for a while now, was upset. Did William really just kill 5 more children? She could tell their souls were now trapped in the animatronic suits. Determined to help them, Charlie gave the kids a gift. She feared that if they possessed these characters for too long, they would start to think they are literally the animatronics they were trapped in. Charlie wasn't allowing that. She made sure they always saw themselves as the kids they once were, but this new life was painful. She knew. Charlie made another decision. She was going to give them a new life. Charlie tricked the children into thinking they weren't actually dead. They were just stuck in the pizzeria, and they now have this cool new ability to control the animatronics. The kids weren't huge fans of being stuck in the pizzeria forever. However, Charlie knew this was better than the kids knowing their true situation. The next morning, William woke up with a loud knock on the door. It was the police. They had a warrant for William's arrest. Turns out the cameras saw Spring Bonnie with each of the kids. The only person they couldn't find on the cameras when the kids were being lured was William Afton. Everyone was certain that William was the one who kidnapped and killed the children, but the police couldn't find the bodies anywhere. They searched the entire restaurant and found nothing, so the case was thrown out. They had to let William go. Unfortunately, without the bodies, they couldn't confirm he did anything. Henry was furious. Like everyone else, he figured William did it. His own business partner, the man he trusted. How could he do such a sick... When Charlotte was killed a couple years ago, did William murder his daughter? Henry had to throw up. He didn't want to ever see William Afton step foot in a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza again. Henry kicked William out of the company and decided he would never speak to him again. After the pizzeria closed, William went to check on the kids' spirits. He had to be quick before the security guard showed up. William entered the pizzeria. Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica were on their stage. When he looked at them, they started to go crazy, and it looked like they were malfunctioning. Interesting. The animatronics were scared of him. William went to the safe room and put on his Spring Bonnie suit. William put on the suit, to which he found the animatronics stopped reacting to him. They seemed chill around him now that he was wearing the costume. William looked at the drawing. It has to be because of the drawing. When William wore this suit, he became one of them. William told the animatronics to gather up. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Fredbear gathered into the room. William told them that they were hurt by an adult, and that was what caused their new reality. The animatronics nodded. William then told them that adults are evil and cannot be trusted. Adults that entered the pizzeria were here to hurt the kids and take away their happiest day. Take away this new life they are in. The kids didn't want to be hurt again. They would not be hurt again. The security guard came and the animatronics went back to their stage. William watched as the guard was confused as to why the animatronics were moving. Then, the security guard was shocked as Bonnie walked into his office, grabbed him, and knocked him out. The guard was unconscious. William watched Bonnie hide the guard's body into a spare suit, where the guard eventually died. Interesting. Didn't Garrett used to complain of rumors of the animatronics killing people and hiding the bodies? Did the thing that his spirit hear about in the past somehow affect the future? Interesting.